How's it going, everyone? It is Draco. We're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest, chapter 106, Flame and Moon. The cover page for this chapter has Gajil and Levy on it. This cover between them actually adds a bit of story that Gajil is making a crib out of iron, and Levy's in one of her more classicer outfits. I mean, Gajil, great idea, but I don't know how safe it is to make a iron crib for your kid. Unless if Gajil's kid somehow has like Iron Dragon Slayer traits. Honestly, it's kind of dope to see a little bit of progression, like those two getting ready to have their kid. It works so well as a cover because I don't think this would have fit very well in like regular story stuff. But to put it as a cover works great. So picking up with our chapter, we get the aftermath of Erza's battle. She gets sent out of the blue dimension. She's crashed into the ground, and as she's crashed into the ground, that's when the 24 hours in like 24 seconds kicks in. And she's starting to scream. But luckily for Erza, the second that started to kick in, that's when Wendy and Lily showed up. I'd almost say before she even hits the ground, Wendy's already casting a healing spell on Erza, which Erza does not look that great here. She looks really out of it. I like how everyone else is happy that Wendy is there, but like Gajil's in the background like, Lily, you were with Wendy this whole time and you left me? How freaking dare you? I mean, Wendy's healing magic's pretty broken, but Erza must have took quite a bit of damage because she says that she can't immediately heal all of her wounds because the damage is a lot worse than she thought. And Erza's opponent that she was facing doesn't look much better because she looks pretty darn dead. So of course, that being one of the Dark Dragon Slayer Knights defeated, and Lily's holding the other one that they defeated. And everyone else is like, why are you holding the kid? You know, like, what's up with that? Because isn't he supposed to be an enemy of ours? They basically explain, you know, that Wendy felt bad and didn't want to leave the kid behind. And they basically come up with the consensus of just leave her next to the other Dark Dragon Slayer Knight. And, you know, we'll call it even. Ray's there talking about this. And I literally honestly forgot if it was Haku or Haiku for his name, but he wakes back up and immediately starts clinging on to Wendy, and Gajil ain't having none of that. Immediately sends him to the ground with a punch, and he gets one-shotted by Gajil. Most of the Fairy Tale group is back together. The only ones that are missing from the group is Natsu, Lucy, Happy, and Loxus, and they're basically just kind of planning on like, okay, we'll try and go meet up with them now. Which we cut over to Lucy, Virgo, and Loxus. Since Lucy is knocked out, Virgo very much took advantage of this. I know Lucy was pretty darn beat up after the fight she was in, but like, did Virgo strip her of some more clothes and like tie her up? I know she's into this stuff, but like, did she take it like an extra level further? Which Loxus is just done with this crap because there's like that last fight, there was people getting naked like crazy and I didn't want to look at you. And then I get this. I just have to see you tie her up in this really weird way. And I'm so done with this. He even asks like, why are you carrying her like that? Like, I'm pretty sure no one normally ties up someone like that. Yeah, Virgo most definitely took advantage of this. Like, look at that smile. She knows what she's doing. Literally saying that, like, this is the way she likes it. I love that he just straight up is so blunt about it because he's like, I just feel sorry that Lucy has to deal with you. So we go over to Natsu and Suzaku, and they're still exploring, trying to find Ignia. They find a staircase that leads more into the labyrinth. They start commenting on the fact that each level they've gone down, the magic power seems to be rising, which Natsu seems to make nothing of it, but Suzaku seems to think that it's probably meaning we're getting to the center of this labyrinth, which Suzaku is just, you know, standing there probably thinking about like, okay, what should we do since this magic power is getting stronger? And Natsu's just like, screw it, I'm going into this thing. And Suzaku tries to stop him, and this is where you get serious mode Natsu. He's on a mission now. Natsu says to him that if anything, he's the one not being careful, and from the moment that Ignia showed up, he's been ready for war. Which I really like this panel with him, and like it most of the times when Natsu gets mad at someone's like, I'm gonna go kill them. Particularly saying he's ready for war kind of reminds me of Tartaros, like when the stuff happened with Loxus, and he's like, yeah, let's go hunt down that guild, it's a war now. From the staircase, they basically go into like a giant cave, and it's pretty big. And while in that cave, they notice that the air is kind of different, and Natsu immediately points out that he can smell Ignia's scent, and that he is somewhere on this floor. Which, speaking of Ignia, we cut over to Ignia himself, and he has found the center of the labyrinth, which is literally a pedestal that has a heart emanating magic power out of it. Which, kind of interesting, his next bits of dialogue here, because he hints at things that we don't entirely get answers to, at least in this chapter. We'll maybe find it out in the future. So he's looking at this heart, and he's like, I get it. So this heart was used to advance the plan, huh? Like, what plan's he talking about? And then you go to the next line of, you really were my one true friend. Which they must have had a falling out at some point, because he's looking kind of mad at the heart, and he says the line, if only you've had the same idea I had. And as he's grabbing the heart, you get Silene camoing in behind him. Literally, I just saw that dimension thing, and I'm like, she's literally pulling an Obito. This panel of her like teleporting in behind him. I quite like the faces in this page, mainly at the bottom, like Silene face. But even with that sneak attack, he immediately turns around and blocks it. And they basically start by talking about the heart itself. Basically saying why they want the heart of Elfinsair. You know, like that it remembers where every single man-made weapon is. Which Silene and Ignia basically have different goals of probably wanting this thing, because she's like, I never imagined you'd want this thing as well, to try and like learn the info about humans, but he wants it as well, and he wants it for an entirely different reason. And the reason that Silene had, he has no interest in that whatsoever. Whatever reason why he was here, I guess the heart must not have been that important, because he immediately puts in the palm of his hand and lights it on fire. So Silene's grand plan is over, and she releases Elfinsair out, and is he dead now? Like, has you burned his heart? I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce the name of the guy that he's talking about here. I mean, it looks like Dog Rawmeg, but I probably said it wrong here. Not really going to try and attempt to say it again. Whoever he's talking about, he was saying that he was trying to use the heart to advance a certain plan of his. And that plan was also his plan, which he even points out her face, because she's like, don't make that face. You know, it seems like you probably already know what I'm planning on doing. And Silene replies that she will not let him go through with it. I do like the bottom panels here, that they're both getting like dragon scales on part of their face, and he questions her like, why are you siding with humans? And Silene is on the side of, you know, the dragon age is over. And in our next panel here, we cut over to a giant dragon battle now. I know we had Ignia before, but I literally do not remember if he went into the dragon form or not. But the shot here of him with like freaking flames coming out of his head, that's dope looking. You gotta end the chapter with some battle taunts. He taunts her, saying that, you know, I'm gonna turn every trace of you into ash. Which I like her reply of, not before the moon distorts and erases you. And just when the fight is getting ready to start, that's when Natsu and Suzaku arrive on the scene, and they're probably like, okay, I'm gonna head out now. And that is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts, I imagine honestly Suzaku might bail, because he'll probably realize like, oh crap, this is gonna be an intense battle. I'm probably not gonna survive taking on two dragon gods at the same time. Now I imagine Natsu's going to be of the opposite and actually try and join in this fight, because it's literally his job to kill these two. I wouldn't be shocked if next chapter you get the rest of the team joining up with him, and then you get a continuation of the battle between Ignia and Silene. You might almost get a moment of the fight between these two is so intense that it might be similar to Natsu when he was fighting Gildarts in Tenro Island, where he's just like, yeah, no, we're not fighting that right now. But I imagine that's probably not going to happen, and Natsu will probably join into this fight. You also have to account for a few other things. Kirin is still out there, and obviously Suzaku. You have the rest of Fairy Tail. I mean, I'd say Erza is definitely out right now, and Lucy is as well. You have Gajil, who is left pretty much unscathed. Gray, that's left unscathed. Lox is, I mean, he got beat up as well, but I imagine he could at least like fight a little bit. But solidly, you have like Natsu in fighting condition, Wendy in fighting condition, Gray and Gajil. So like you have a decent bunch of the Fairy Tail guild that can fight. Taking on one of them would be hard enough. They might almost bail and just like let this fight happen. I know the 100-year quest team thinks that they're really strong, but I don't know if they think they're double dragon levels of strong to kill 2 dragon gods at once. Before this labyrinth arc kind of started here, they even pointed that out, that pretty much the 2 that they've dealt with, the water god they didn't even kill, they just kind of like sealed off his magic power, and the wood one, like they literally didn't even bother to like fully kill it. It was so dormant for so long, it just lost so much power. So if that thing was at full power, they probably would have lost. And I know that was a big concern that, you know, like the next ones we face, aka Silene, when they're at full power, can we actually kill it? Where they were in the whole other world and stuff, and they were fighting Silene, they lost pretty bad right there. And Ignia is a pretty powerful opponent as well, so like, do you really want to take on both of them at the same time? Regardless of whether Fairy Tail joins in or not, or some of the Dark Dragon Slayer Knights join in, the battle between these two will probably be a longer fight. Like, I actually imagine one of them will probably die, and that might be actually how you kill Silene. I think Silene would be maybe the one to lose, because she's been around for a while right here, and Ignia is just talking about how he's getting his plans in motion. I think he would be honestly the final like dragon god we face. Or who knows, Silene will somehow escape yet again, or maybe kill Ignia. I doubt. I'm going to hit a hard X for doubt. Then in this labyrinth arc has really scaled upward, and we've gotten to crazier levels now. It's all dependent on who wants to fight and who doesn't want to fight. So what do you guys think of the chapter? Leave it in the comments below. Sorry that this review got out a little bit later than I usually post them. I have had a insanely busy week, and I have literally had no time to make anything. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and this is Drago signing out.